Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, so
Chapter 92, Zombie Blood Chainsaw.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this chapter I guess kind of threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting to see these two reconvene so quickly because
She was playing Dance Dance Revolution, like, for her life. Last time we saw her.
Pretty much. Well, not even for her life, really, but yeah, like, I guess, right? Like, she was sitting there crying, and she's like, I did it!
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, her story's, I guess, been kind of interesting, because from what you've told me, I'm still finishing my first read-through. So she joined the devil agency, the devil hunter agency to make money, but then she's kind of useless and can't do anything, so she quits. And then you don't see her till you see her working at that random, like, we'll call it McDonald's, I guess.
Yeah.
She's working at the McDonald's, and then Denji comes in the form of Chainsaw Man and proceeds to, do what Chainsaw Man does.
Yeah, and they go on a date and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even call that a real date.
Of course not, but it was a date to Chainsaw Man.
I guess anything in Chainsaw Man can be quantified as just about anything, to be honest.
Because that's what Denji wanted, he wanted to date a girl, and he hasn't done that. So the monster kind of like did it, I guess. It was so weird, but this girl, we see her. She was previously the devil hunters. She's part of it, and she was like, I'm done. Like she can't, cause the first time we actually meet her, she acted the same way, where she was like stressing, and I understand, cause like it's kind of scary, and cause these guys are treated like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to call them like, not garbage people, because they're still like members.
They are though, bro. Dude, I was just rereading. I just got to chapter, I don't know, 6 or something, 8. I don't even know. And dude, these people are treated like garbage. Man.
I don't want to say garbage, but it's more like it's a job, so to speak. It's like
I think it's even less than that, bro. Like, from the way that Makima talks to Denji and the people around her, man. To be honest, I'm surprised nobody thought she was the villain right away.
That's because she has that, she was hot, I guess. I don't know, man. It was weird.
Well, I guess. Well, I don't guess. I don't think that about but
yeah, but I know what you mean. I know.
She comes into the story.
I definitely
the way she acts. I'm like, yo, this bitch is clearly evil. I'm like, I swear. I hope all of you readers caught on to that so quickly.
The way she treats Den. I mean, well, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we caught it on. Like, we're like, well, something's up. Like, she's very strange. Well, everyone's strange in this world. I mean, even including Denji himself. Like, when Makima met Denji, you're like, well, you're like not my new dog. You're my leash. And as you can see, she has a control devil, if you remember. And also, when we first go to her apartment, she has like 7 dogs. So, like, it's a theme of control, right? So, but going back to this chapter, I was happy to see her, and she's still alive, and I hope she stays alive. And I actually pretty, she has mentioned her family before. Again, when you reread the chapters, she mentioned her family before. Like, she has a big family. She's, again, she worked.
But she hates them, apparently.
Yeah, some of them are like kind of like we don't meet them or nothing like that. But she does, like, I don't want to say
comment on their
it's hard.
Their lack of niceness.
It's hard for her. Because she's doing everything for her family and stuff like that. So I think she has a lot of siblings too, because she mentioned it, and she has it rough. She has it rough a couple times. So it's kind of, it's weird, because I don't want to say she talks shit about her family, but like, I don't want to say she does, but like, when she talks about them, like, I gotta do this and that. It's kind of like, it's grueling for her. So like, when she's like, is my family gonna never see me again? Or are they gonna be okay? Like, I think she's happy that she's gonna, not that she's gonna separate them, but like, she's, family's still family, right? She's happy that they'll be safe enough. Like, they don't need to, deal with what she's going on with Makima, attacking Chainsaw and Denji and stuff like that. So, but this chapter was definitely interesting, where Denji, more realization, after power kind of.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. He gets a real good slap in the face, which I kind of appreciated that, because again, just it's weird, because I jumped in on this series late, and then I'm going back and rereading it. So obviously, like, my perspective on everything is
fresh.
It's almost biased in a weird way because I already know what's going to happen, so I can make connections and be like, oh, I can see that. And that's kind of, I guess, one of the cool things about going back and getting to reread it without having any knowledge except for the knowledge that I have currently. This is literally true, where Denji calls himself out. He's like, I've never made decisions for myself. I've never been in charge of myself. And that's so true because when you go back and you look at how the series starts, he's working for that guy. The guy betrays him. Yep. Pochita dies. He becomes a Chainsaw Man. And then he just goes right into working for Makima. And then that goes on till now.
He gets treated like a dog. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because now he's only... It's literally taken the complete collapse of his entire life to realize, like, oh, I have to kind of take responsibility.
Well,
I have to do something about it.
Well, before, again, when you read through it, like, he has felt like, man, depression. But now, yeah, but for now, is like I mean, my overall thoughts of this chapter, I hope Denji makes it out alive. I hope Denji makes it out alive, deals what he has to do with the big bad.
I have no idea.
But
that's the thing that's throwing me off.
Hold on. I hope he makes it out alive, and I hope he does. I hope he finds something that he wants to do instead of like the basic necessities of like eating and stuff like that. Because I don't know if you remember the first few chapters of him. Like,
no, I do. He doesn't eat. He dies. He puts like a bunch of bread. Sorry, he puts a bunch of jams and marmalades on a piece of bread and just eats all of it because he's so excited. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that's what he said. Like the only choices he ever made was like what to eat for lunch. So I'm actually hoping he actually throughout the whole when the series is done, like, or before it's done, I should say, he makes it out alive and do what he wants to do. As selfish as that sounds, because he hasn't done anything for himself. He's either for the mafia because of his father's debt, or he's from Makima, or like now and a whole nother thing. And we might see. And honestly, going further throughout the chapter, you hear the news report with Chainsaw Man, like the hero and stuff like that. Like he looks surprised, zooming past towards the end. He looks surprised when he sees all, Chainsaw Man cheering for him. Obviously we can't tell until the next chapter. But like, is he just gonna be like, I don't want that?
How is he reacting to that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is he gonna be happy? Is he gonna be like, should I continue fighting?
Right?
Or like, because then that's another thing he needs to do. Now he needs to save everybody because everyone's cheering for him. He's not doing it for himself. He's doing it for you know what I mean? So
yeah, and well, that's kind of a big part of it, right? It's also it's interesting too. So going back to what you were saying, you want to see Denji like be his own person basically by the time this kind of comes to a close. I don't really know if that's going to happen, and the part of me that says that is I feel like there's a bit of a foreshadow on page 11 when he sits there and he's like, even if I make it out of this alive, I bet I'll always be living in obedience to somebody like a dog. What makes that kind of interesting is, when he had Pochita, he was kind of like subservient, right? Because the contract was made with Pochita, but he was like, oh, if I die, you die, so you better keep me alive. So he was counting on him to keep him alive.
Yeah.
And then they made the actual contract where he becomes Chainsaw Man, right? And it's like then he's living under technically Pochita because he's like, I want to see your dreams. And then he goes to living under Makima. So now there's almost like this shift to he's living under the public.
Yeah, exactly.
They're starting to love him, right? So I don't know. It's really interesting. I don't kind of think he's gonna get out on top, and I think to be honest, that seems to be a bit of a recurring. From what I'm seeing, there seems to be this idea of a recurring theme of, you don't win, you just do a little better each time. That kind of seems to be the theme, because if you look at like Denji's debt stems from his father, right? And that's the whole reason Denji gets screwed over. So there's always this idea of you can't win, you can't beat the system, but occasionally you get pushes forward, and there's always like these consequences, right? Which seems to be a big freaking theme in all of these series right now. So what are the consequences of being a public hero?
Yeah.
We have no clue.
Yeah, especially in that world. And it's funny that you mentioned when his dog, he wants to see his dreams and stuff like that. She mentions it also, where like there's no such thing as being.
Oh
Accepting
there's
your
no such thing
dreams,
as-
and then like that next panel, like I honestly really like love just because it's just simple. They're both kneeling down, and I think he has like a burrito or something like that. But he like looks at like shocked, like oh, like it's not like how did you know, but like it's more of a realization, like that's right. You know what I mean? So and
Yeah, because he's like, oh, I wanted to. Yeah, it's like there's no going. It's interesting, and I'm probably stretching a little bit here, but it's also kind of, I guess, just a bigger commentary on life to an extent.
oh man,
Where he's like, he's like, oh, but I wanted to be normal again, or I wanted to, or he wanted to have something that's unattainable. He basically wants to be normal would mean to erase his past, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Because then he wouldn't have made the contract. He wouldn't have done yada yada yada. So there's just kind of this thread going on. Again, you have to live with these consequences. You have to live with these regrets, and that's kind of I feel the epiphany that Denji's having right here, is because the next thing is he's like, but I wanted to be normal, and it's like he's having this realization that oh shit, all of that did happen, and it's kind of funny because I think part of that realization is tied into what we've been talking about already, which is oh I've been a dog. Oh, I've never been normal because I have been a dog. Oh, I screwed up by being a dog and just being obedient, and I created all these issues.
Yeah.
And I can't go back to being normal because I let all of those things happen.
and it's kind of interesting when he says that he wants to be normal. Like what she says, like after like a small pause, she says, "You want to be normal, Denji?" Question mark. So it's like. That was also like I don't know if it's weird, like I don't know what the meaning behind. I can't really think of the top.
Yeah, it's very ambiguous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I know what you mean, and what made it kind of interesting for me as well was because it's like it's that frame, and it's like you want to be normal, Denji? Question mark, and then it's him, and he's like, and it's kind of like, do I? And then it's and then the next thing is just Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, and then and then you notice it's from. Yeah, and then you notice it's from like the TV screen, because I was like, oh, is that from like the inside of his like mind? Or like, oh no, that's television. Yeah, it was definitely like that was a pretty cool transition. I think I really like that transition when like Chainsaw Man, because like when I saw the word, I'm like, is that come from inside? Like, oh no, that's just TV. So.
Well,
yeah,
it is, but I think
it was probably intentionally, like, because
hell yeah, there's definitely like some intention there to contrast.
Because there's like a black, it's just a black panel and then the word
with the name, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting because in a weird way, it's almost like an identity loss. Just like in the way my brain's processing this right now, because it's like. You want to be normal, Denji? Question mark. And then you got his full face in that panel, and then you cut to the next panel, and it's half of his face, and then the next panel is just black. There's no Denji identity, and then it's just Chainsaw Man. So,
like, is
like
even Denji? Is
even
Denji anymore?
Chainsaw Man is Chainsaw Man. Like,
yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. There's definitely some literary crap going on there in terms of what the author's trying to like. I guess create in terms of in the readers' minds, but yeah, man, this again, Chainsaw Man is a series that on a chapter to chapter basis, you're bound to do 180s every other chapter.
Oh,
so,
agreed. Like next one,
he
I don't know.
Yeah. This next one, or he's gonna be crying his eyes out.
Or he could just be like, I'm running away. Like
right? Like exactly.
Yeah, like we have no
to predict this.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's the thing I really enjoy, because I'm like, it's just it's so contrast to like the previous one. I'm like, whoa, like that is a hard term, but you also believe it, because I'm like, yeah, they would do that. So
yeah.
You know, like
You know what? Maybe the way to describe this series, and I feel weird using this term, is this series is almost human.
No, that's actually really accurate, because like the way he writes like his characters are just very, I don't want to say real, but
they're regular.
Yeah.
They're not like,
yeah.
Because shonen characters are very, sorry Deku, because you're a great main character and I do love but he's like, oh, I need to save everybody, and I need to be the best of the best of the best of the best, and that's kind of like, Naruto. I need to be the Hokage, and I need to save everybody, and they're
And obviously they have their layers and everything. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's not your they're typical hero shonen where Denji's like,
yeah, Denji's this whack job who's not really, to be honest, he's not really a hero. He's like, if you kind of really break it down, he's done heroic things, but I don't think he's truly a hero.
Yeah, it's definitely
Sorry, it's just amazing how real that is. Where it's like you have these flaws, you have these pasts. Again, if we look at many of the other, I guess, writing stereotypes to an extent that take place is there are usually characters that are able to, sorry, because I do love Avatar as well, but let's throw Zuko in here. Zuko commits all of these travesties and then he tries to atone, and there's a lot of that, but there's not so much as this true acceptance and realization of, oh, I actually have to deal with all of that. It tends to get brushed under the rug, and I like that this isn't really the case in Chainsaw Man.
Oh, most definitely. It's definitely a different manga that's on. Again, his previous work, Fire Punch. Oh man, it's like, it's. I mean, thank God that wasn't on Shonen Jump or Weekly. Maybe it was on Weekly Shonen Jump, maybe in Japan and stuff like that. But I read that story, and that's probably a more stranger. And also the way the characters talk is, I mean, actually they're way stranger than the people here in Chainsaw Man. It's super wild. But yeah, man. I mean, it's a pretty good. I like the chapter. It was like it was calm, but like realization, but also I don't know where it's going.
To be honest, it was a really necessary chapter.
Oh, for
after
sure.
Denji's revival, because if we're being really honest, the last 6 weeks of Chainsaw Man have kind of been a mess. Just from okay, what's going on? Wait, is he dead? Is he not dead? He just kicked his own heart from space back down onto the planet. Like, there's been so much craziness going on.
The whole Burger Town thing, singing their song.
Yeah,
I honestly, that was my favorite chapter. Just like like you gotta sing it, tomato. Be like, what is this?
And she's
like the tone of this manga is very strange, but I think that speaks to like even the title itself. So. But yeah, man.
Sorry, I was also just looking at the double page color cover spread. There's something kind of interesting about this to me, because Power and what I can only assume is the friend that died from the gun.
Yeah, it's Aoki. I can never pronounce his name, but yeah, it's
Aoki. It's Aoki or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me that they're kind of like in the light and like out in the open. But he's kind of still like,
in the dark, in the
shadow,
in
the dark kind of thing.
In the shadow,
and like if you look at Power, like maybe part of it's kind of metaphorical because they've both died and they're moving on, right? Like she's even going peace.
Yeah.
It's
that's a good.
Because it's like they're leaving this shit world behind, but Denji's still kind of stuck in it.
That's a very good insight.
Look at his face, right? He's kind of miserable.
Yeah.
But they almost look happy to be dead. It's really weird.
And it's funny because we've seen similar interiors, or I guess exteriors, like where he's at, like the hallways. We've seen similar like that to like the door, even just running from the first page where you see people walking and stuff like that, and that door, and then it zooms into the door, and like a door in this manga seems to be very significant. You know what I mean?
It is.
Oh, like I mean, from like either his past or like. Heck, even the like doors to hell, like to get to hell, there's like the ceiling, or I guess the sky is just multiple doors from Monsters Inc. You know what I mean? Like that's how it is.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah, true. Okay.
Yeah, so it is very much the theme there when it comes to that, and it's like undergroundy, I guess, because I don't know, maybe the theme of hell or something like that. But yeah, that's a good site, man. I didn't even notice that, bro. That's pretty good. Like holy shit.
Sorry. Just that was just some last thoughts because I was just browsing back through the pages.
Yeah, that was
I was
good.
like, that kind of stands out to me. So yeah, with that in mind, I think we're done for this week. I don't think there's anything more we need to touch on.